Good morning, my friends, and welcome. This is Father Marcus from the Costa Blanca Anglican Chaplaincy. Delighted to spend just a little bit of time with you today. And today we're anticipating Sunday's great feast of Mothering Sunday. We're looking forward to that day of the year when we particularly focus our energies and our thoughts on the whole concept of mothering. And let me just throw this one out there right at the very beginning. It's not Mother's Day. It's not just a day when we say thank you to our mums and give them a bunch of flowers. It's Mothering Sunday. It's to do with the concept of nurturing and loving and caring that mothers do, but that all people do when they mother other people. And there is a whole understanding of Mother Church and the good nurturing stuff that the church has done for people throughout its history. So it's about mothering rather than just about our mums. But having said that, it is an incredibly brilliant opportunity for us to focus on our mums and our mothers and give thanks for them and to them and wallow in the wisdom that they've shared with us over the time. So I am going to be using this as a little bit of self-indulgence and telling you stories about my mum because I think they fit with what I want to say about mothering. And my mum, like your mum, was without doubt the best mum in the world. She was glorious at being a mother. And when I talk about her, I do tend to talk about three things that she instilled upon me. And normally when I talk about them, I just sort of flippant phrases that I throw out there, and don't give any depth to them because they stand alone. But I'm going to give you the phrases and then unpack what she meant by them because there's much more depth than is initially the thought. The first one, when I was quite young, she taught me to call all your girlfriends darling. Call all your girlfriends darling. And I thought what she was saying was just in case you've got more than one, or because you've gone from one to the next one fairly quickly, you don't want to get their names mixed up. You don't want to call Marjorie Debbie, things like that. I didn't have a Marjorie. Did have a Debbie, I'll tell you about that later. But you don't want to get... And in initial thoughts, that's what I understood that she was getting at. But I remember when I was going out with Debbie, I went out with Debbie for a few years actually. She was my first real proper lasting girlfriend, and she spent a lot of time at my house with my family and my mum. And when Debbie and I eventually split up, my mum said to me, don't stop calling her darling, because just because you're not together anymore, she's still the same person as she always has been. And you still have the feelings that you've always had, and she's had feelings for you, and you don't want to disrespect her or be rude to her or unpleasant about her just because you two have split up. And it may be the case that in some time in the future you get back together. So don't badmouth her. Be nice. And in thinking about it, that wisdom is about all relationships. Be polite and kind and nice to people and speak well of people and look for the best in people. And if you have a falling out, don't, verbally assassinate them because they're still okay. They're still fine. They're still all right. And it's good to instill in yourself the pattern of always being polite, and terms of endearment mean a great deal. So that was the first thing. And it was a good learning experience. The second was to dress up in a crisis. And I always understood this as, when you get a letter from the bank saying you're overdrawn, you haven't got any money, do what my mum did. And that would be to go out and buy a new hat. And the reason that's such a great story, and it's true, is because my mum never wore hats, never ever saw her in a hat. But when there was a crisis, she'd go out and buy a new one. And it wasn't just about that. It wasn't just about that retail therapy that makes you feel a little bit better. It was about instilling in yourself something that gives you confidence in yourself, something that makes you feel okay about yourself, something that makes you think that you're not going to let every external thing get you down. And the crisis might not just be a financial crisis that you're going through this week. And there's something, I believe, very deep about when things are falling apart, make a statement with yourself and to yourself and about yourself that you're not going to lose that sense of identity that God has given you. You're not going to lose the person you are just because things around you are getting you down, whether it's your fault or not. And so have that sense of uniqueness, have that sense of God-given personality, and be the best you that you can. And one of the ways we do that is not to let external forces drag us down. And one of the ways that we can show that we're letting that not happen is to dress up and look good as you can when there is Christ. It doesn't necessarily mean buying anything new, and in particularly buying a new hat, but it does mean just not letting everything fall apart. And the third thing, and this is so beautiful, and it was perfect example of who my mum was and what she did. And I'm going to tell you why she did it later on. And this was include everybody, include everyone. Whatever you're doing, be as inclusive as you possibly can. And our house was always an open house, and we had 5 children living there with my mum, and all of our family and all of our friends were always welcome, and everybody was shown incredible hospitality, whether we had food or not. Whatever we had, we shared, and my mum managed to make it go round for as many people who was there possible. But if you're having a party, if you're doing an include everyone. And by that token, it means don't exclude people, don't send people apart, don't deny people anything, include everyone. And the reason this really stuck with me is when I was at school, I did have a girlfriend, not Debbie, another one at some stage, and she wasn't particularly keen on one of my other friends. I'll call him Simon. And we were having a party, my girlfriend and I were having a party, and she didn't want to invite Simon. And I found myself really in a difficult place about this, really in a difficult place, because Simon was my friend and my girlfriend was my girlfriend, and she didn't want to invite Simon, didn't want to include him. I remember speaking to my mum about it one evening, and she said to me, and she wasn't a particularly religious person, she didn't go to church very often, but she did have her faith, and she said to me, you know, the gospel is about inclusion, and the good news is about that everyone is invited into the kingdom of heaven. And if everyone is invited into the kingdom of heaven, then at least your friends should be invited to your party. So don't let that girl stop you inviting your friends. And the fact that she hung it on the message of the gospel made it so real for me. And so, of course, Simon came to the party, and the long and short of it was that that wasn't the girl that I married. Those are just stories about my mum. You've got your own stories about your own mum, and you've got your own thoughts about Mothering Sunday. And I just want to conclude by this idea that all of us have mothering to do. And by that I mean imparting bits of wisdom, nurturing, looking after people, caring for them, showing hospitality, being the person that somebody needs at the moment. And I'm going to go further. Being the miracle that people need. So bless you, bless you, bless you. Have a wonderful Mothering Sunday. If your mum is still here on planet Earth, let her know that you love her. If she's in heaven, give thanks for all that she shared with you and meant to you. And may she rest in peace. But bless you, bless you, bless you. Have a great day. And I'll see you soon. Bye now.